Of course, so much of the outrage around these allegations is felt because people have had to sacrifice so much. People like Jean Adamson, who wasn't able to visit her dying father in hospital because of COVID restrictions during that first wave in 2020. And Jean joins me now. Thanks so much for being with us, Jean. I know it's quite a difficult thing still to talk about your father in this way, but could you just talk us through what happened at that time in 2020?
My father died from COVID on 15th of April 2020, and we weren't able to spend any time with him whilst he was, in the days leading up to his death. He was in a care home, and naturally the care home was in lockdown, and we were only able to speak to him from the window. So at a time when he was his last days, we weren't able to offer him any comfort. There was no tactile comfort, no touch, nothing like that. It's a very difficult time. And my father died alone on a cold COVID ward.
Oh, I'm sorry. And his name was Aldrich, wasn't it? And I'm just thinking as well, it was around the time that some of these alleged parties were taking place, because we were talking about May 2020, weren't we? So were you allowed to go to his funeral? I mean, what happened there?
I wasn't able to give my father the funeral which he would have wanted and which he deserved. Now, my dad was a religious man of the church, and he would have loved to have had a congregation in church singing his favourite hymns and giving him a good send-off. I wasn't able to offer him that. In fact, the numbers were restricted at his graveside, so there were a few of us socially distanced around the graveside. We weren't able to hug each other or comfort each other in any way. It was just surreal.
No, Jean,
Sorry.
I was going to say, when you're hearing about these parties that were allegedly taking place around Downing Street, knowing that you couldn't be there in the way that you wanted for him or at his funeral, I mean, what's that like for you and your family?
I feel absolutely disgusted. I feel upset, and I'm incensed with rage. Whilst we made all these sacrifices through, of that period of time, Downing Street were having party after party, and just really, having a great time. And I feel as if we've been betrayed by the government. Here we are, we have the Prime Minister who holds the highest office in the land, who we expect, and we have the right to expect, that he should lead by example. And to have all these revelations about parties, jollies going on during a time when thousands of people around the nation were losing their loved ones, were dying, they weren't able to spend those precious moments with them as they were dying. It just really sickens me. The behaviour is just disgraceful. I'm thoroughly disgusted. I really am.
There is an inquiry, there is an investigation. We're waiting to see the findings of all that. If you were to go through that door behind me and talk to the Prime Minister, what would you say?
I would say to him how disappointed I am at what's happened. And I would tell him that if he had any decency about him, any form of integrity, that he would go. I would ask him to resign. He is a walking public health hazard. How he expects to exercise authority and for people to listen to him through another variant that came along, is beyond belief. He's lost his integrity, he's lost his moral standing, and he needs to go.
All right. Jean, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing your story.